Hey guys, it's Applemint. Welcome back again to my channel. Today I have a really exciting video for you guys. As the title says, I'm going to be creating some digital artwork using a phone, but I wanted to take a second to thank today's video sponsor, Clip Studio Paint. Now I am just blown away that they wanted to sponsor me because they are one of the biggest / most popular drawing softwares in the industry right now. This program is used by many big artists as well as anime production studios and companies, and I just think it's so awesome that they wanted to sponsor me. And if you don't know what Clip Studio Paint is, it is a digital art software with many detailed features that allows you to create anything from digital illustrations to comics to even 2D animations. So when they contacted me, you could tell I was pretty over the moon because I've heard such amazing things about their program and I really wanted a chance to take a look at it and try it out. So a big thank you again to Clip Studio Paint for sponsoring today's video. So like I mentioned, today I'm going to be doing some digital artwork using a phone. This is something that I've never done before, so I'm pretty excited to try it out. Also using Clip Studio Paint today. For this video, I'll be using the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra as my phone with the Galaxy version of Clip Studio Paint installed on it. So I'm going to start off by talking a bit about some of the features this program has to offer, while also discussing my experience with it and a little bit about the artwork that I'm creating. I'll have the artwork playing in the background. You guys can watch that. It's a direct capture from the phone screen. I used the software just to record everything on the screen, so you should be able to see everything just fine. So I'm somebody who, as you might know, has used a few different art programs in my days, and I have a pretty good understanding of what types of features that I like to see in an application. A lot of you guys have asked me my opinions on different drawing programs, or which one you should get, or are there any free ones, or what's a good paid one? And the answer is there's a few you could look at depending on your budget or what you're looking for. As you may know, the program I currently use on my iPad is Procreate, and the reason I moved over to this program from other things that I used to use is because I really like the portability on an iPad. And I've been interested in what a more in-depth software like Clip Studio Paint could bring to the table for me for quite a while now. I just never really took the leap into buying it, so that's why I'm really happy that I could try it out for today's video. I took the week to play around with it a bit and learn some of the different features, and at first glance, it really is a very detailed program. The first thing I want to point out is how dreamy the brushes feel. Can I just gush about this for a second? Whenever I download a new software, the first thing I do is I test out the brushes. I think a lot of you guys can relate if you've done digital art before. The first thing you do is you run into the brush tab and you look at all the different categories, and then you just start scribbling them all together with different colors, see which ones mix, which ones don't, you know the drill. So yeah, that's the first thing I always do. And I'm pretty critical of the default brushes that come with softwares. I've had some that just feel pretty terrible or pretty bland. And for me, I'm somebody who really likes that painty look in a digital illustration. And I always used to have a lot of trouble getting that. And even now with Procreate, I just recently found some brushes that were more painty to my liking, but they weren't even default with the software. So that's always something upsetting to me because it's really hard to find some good brushes. So the fact that Clip Studio Paint came with some brushes that I felt were really easy to use and very nice was a big plus in my opinion. Specifically the watercolor brushes. They blended really smoothly, and my two favorites specifically were the dense and the transparent watercolor brushes. You'll see me using them a lot in this drawing, mostly for the shading, because it made all of the colors it's almost like a mix of an airbrush and a smudge brush together. You get some of those painty strokes, but you also can have a softer look if you blend it out a little bit. So that's a big plus for me when a program has very nice default brushes. When it came to actually using the pen or stylus on the screen itself, it actually worked really well. I'm used to a more chunky tablet pen or stylus, so I wasn't sure if I was going to like using this because it is so small. but the pen was really lightweight and it was the perfect size for drawing on a screen of this size. I think anything bigger would have been really clunky and just gotten in the way while drawing. And I will say that using the pen on the screen had a very low drawing latency. And if you don't know what that is, drawing latency would be defined as the amount of delay or lag between moving the stylus on the screen and the action actually occurring in your program. The feedback is almost instant in Clip Studio Paint and on this device. So together it actually worked really well. And you know, if there's a big lag, that can really screw up what you're doing and the flow of what you're drawing. So this is also a big plus. So like I mentioned, this was my first time doing digital artwork on a phone, and I expected it to be unpleasant at first because I've never worked on a screen so small. And so I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, or I wasn't even sure if, you know, I know Clip Studio Paint is such a detailed software, so I was unsure of how it would be on such a small device. But to my surprise, the phone version of Clip Studio Paint actually works very similarly to the PC version and other similar drawing programs that I've used. The only thing was that it was just a smaller screen, but once you get past that, it really is the same type of experience. The nice thing about using a mobile device to draw is that I can literally take it anywhere. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, portability is one of the biggest reasons I moved over to using my iPad for drawing rather than tablets that are more stationary. I've used quite a few different stationary drawing tablets with my laptop. I've had really big ones and ones that were much thinner, and then screens that were smaller, and every single one had wires that would connect to my laptop, and it was always such a big mess if I wanted to bring it with me somewhere. Like if I was visiting someone and I wanted to take my tablet, I'd have to get out the laptop case and everything and like all the wires, and it was such a hassle. But don't get me wrong, you know, those kinds of tablets are great in their own way, but for me, somebody who really, really values portability, if I can find a program and a device that I feel it works just as good on the go as it would on a bigger screen, you know, by all means, I'm gonna use it. So yeah, that's I think one of the biggest pluses for me is that this worked so well on the phone, and that I could sit on the couch with it, for example. Like in filming the drawing for this video, I was watching a movie on the couch with the phone and just drawing there, and it was a very comfortable experience. And one last thing I will say about using Clip Studio Paint on the Galaxy is that the Galaxy Note 20 has the option to set quick actions to the pen. So I could set up little shortcuts like for undo or redo to save a bunch of time, which is something I also really like. It gets really annoying to have to go back and forth, like pushing the undo button every time. You know, when you use a computer, you have the luxury of Control Z like right there. But when you have a shortcut to use on the pen with like a swipe feature, it's so much easier. So yeah, another big plus there. Shortcuts are awesome. A little bit about the artwork that I did for the video though. I decided to go with something where I could test out a few different, I guess, techniques within it, so I could kind of see what the program was capable of. For example, I decided to use a few different layer properties, which is something that I like to utilize in general in my digital pieces. I like to use the different layer techniques. So if you look at your layer, you can pick a layer property for it. You can set it to multiply or overlay or add or color dodge, etc., etc. There's a lot of them in there. And all of them have a different thing that they do to your layer. And this is pretty standard over almost every single drawing program. And different programs will have, you know, a different number of these. But for this piece, I used a lot of add, which is really great for glow, because it really brightens whatever you're coloring over and adds like a nice glow around it, depending on how hard you push on the pen when you're using it. And also I used a bit of color dodge, a bit of multiply, and I just really wanted to bring out the different colors in the piece by adding a bunch of different layer effects. And this program worked just like the other programs I've used. It was great. I didn't feel any difference in it. And like I said, I was a little skeptical because I was like, I wonder how this is gonna work on a phone, but like everything I needed was there, and once I got used to where everything was, and what the shortcuts were, it became like second nature. So I was very pleasantly surprised. And of course, another thing that I tested out for this video was some of the different brushes. Like I mentioned, I used the watercolor brushes, but I also used a bit of the harder brushes like for the line art. And also I used some of the airbrushing and some of the splatter brushes for her freckles. Just different things. But one other thing I want to point out is that this program comes with some really, really great stamp brushes and detail brushes, you know, whatever you want to call them. There was some lace in there, and there was some plants and hearts and stars, and like a lot of the programs I use don't usually come with that. So that's another thing that I was pleasantly surprised by. Of course, you can always download or purchase additional brushes for softwares normally, but I always appreciate when a program comes with many assets already built into it, and you don't have to go searching for things. One more thing I want to say about using this phone to do digital art was that I was pleasantly surprised that the pen pressure sensitivity was existent. Like, I wasn't sure how it was going to be. Normally when you're looking for a tablet or something, you want to look at the pressure sensitivity to make sure it's there and make sure it's good. And pressure sensitivity refers to, depending on how hard you push on the screen with your pen, you're gonna get, you know, a bigger line or a darker line, versus if you press very lightly, it's gonna be very light or very small. So much like using a pencil in real life, if you press down really hard, you're gonna get a darker result. So this was present here, and I was, again, very happy about that. So yeah, those are some of the different core features that I noticed when using Clip Studio Paint on the Galaxy Note 20 and was pleasantly surprised by. And for my artwork overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Like I said, I wanted to test different techniques with the layer properties and brushes, and I made sure to use as many colors as I could without the piece getting too crazy here. So I tried to keep it all within the same like look. I don't know how to describe it. You get what I mean, but I wanted to make it just a fun piece with, she's got her little glowing fish flying around her, and she's very regal and royal. So I hope you enjoyed what I created for today's video. And as I stated before, a big thank you to Clip Studio Paint for sponsoring today's video. I'm gonna have a link to their software in the description box below, so you guys can check that out. And they have a free trial of their software, so if you'd like to give it a try and you want to see if you like it, you can go try it out as well, and then you can purchase it or purchase the subscription if you are on mobile. And yeah, just give it a try, see if you like it, see if it's something you want to invest in. And as always, I have all of my links in the description box below. I have the link to my online store, the link to my Patreon pin club. It is the last week and a half to get the free pin, so please check that out sooner rather than later. And I also have my Instagram and my Discord, so please check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed my feedback and review of this software on this phone, and just my experience as a whole. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time as always. Have a beautiful week. Bye bye.